right. Okay. I will call to order the meeting of the trustees of trust funds for Friday, May 20, 2022. And first item on the agenda is the minutes of the April 20, 2002 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any comments, changes, corrections? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, I was a bit focused.
Okay. Historic Cemetery Trust request.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move the request be granted of $2,500 from.
Well, just for clarification, we got an email this morning because we don't, they didn't, the
Oh, okay.
cemetery committee didn't use the entire approved amount so far.
More coming in.
All right.
So we only need to approve.
$1,526.80.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call that question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just out of curiosity, I read somewhere that this was a new cemetery committee. I thought
Yes.
we had a long-standing cemetery
Well,
committee.
it kind of got defunct.
Yeah. It's like the art speak thing. At some point, they just kind of fall away because of disuse. But the trust has been around for
Yeah.
a while.
One of the things that happens that these committees that are set up, Dana, they expire without being reauthorized. So,
Most of these are not charter committees, so they don't automatically roll from year to year. All right. Item 3, the TD Bank investment report. Thank you.
Again, these are my dashboards, not TD's.
so we didn't do a good job at the meeting last month?
I haven't gotten anything.
I guess they don't listen to us.
Well, let's discuss this, and then let's come back to that issue. Okay, so, and this report would also reflect the disbursement that was made for the community campus? Yeah, there was 625,000
It will
came.
not, because that was not in the investments, that was a separate, remember you
Oh,
went to the
okay.
bank to get it.
All right. Okay.
So April was a rough month.
Yep.
So Judy, am I reading this right? Over the rolling 12 months, down 5.46?
From that April to April, it's down 5.46.
I guess the city should be looking for some new trustees, huh?
A lot of people doing a lot worse than this. Judy, these are great reports. I don't know how difficult it is. I don't want to make any more work.
It's
for
not
you.
that bad now that I've set them up.
Okay.
So,
You have the average
Yes.
over the 12 months, rolling 12 months, at the bottom?
the
The five.
to-date one?
Yeah, but to date,
Yes.
would it be possible to have current year-to-date as well?
Yeah.
So you want current year to date and then a rolling 12-month average?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You want the current year-to-date calendar year or fiscal year?
No,
Calendar.
year.
Okay.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
Once I make the changes, then it's just inserting the numbers in.
So when we had the folks from TDN last month, we discussed that you were going to contact them if you needed any additional information in order to prepare these. Did you have to do that, or were you able to just do these through the report?
For them myself.
Okay.
That's
Right.
when he said, when he was in here, and he said, I can provide you what you need, and I can help you devise an Excel spreadsheet. And I said to him, I sent you an Excel spreadsheet that I've already set up. I was just wondering if you guys could automatically produce it so that I don't have to. But evidently, he said whatever he said at the time, that his reports couldn't do it or whatever.
Judy, do me a favor.
Yes,
Would you send him an email and copy us? Since we didn't hear from you, TD is not able to do this.
okay.
I want to get it in writing from them that
Well, okay. Well, any other questions on these reports? Subject to the year-to-date is,
Right,
are
I'll
these?
change that up.
So let's do these going forward.
Yeah, not a problem.
And then annually, I'd still like to get that 10-year,
Yeah, I've got to update that. That's the one that Dana loves so much too,
Right.
the history, the
Yeah.
history one. I've got to go through and update that one and bring that up to date. But that's since inception of the investments altogether,
Right.
so.
so we don't need that every month, but just.
Correct. Usually that would be like a year-end, fiscal year-end is when it's produced, so
Okay.
in July for the end of June.
All right, so let's just plan on those being the reports that we get.
Okay.
So, to the TD issue, so what I'm understanding is that they're saying they can't do this, not because they don't have the capability of doing it, it's just that the TD Bank
Doesn't let them do specialized.
compliance requirements don't allow them to deviate from standardized reports. The question was whether we want to continue to push them on that.
well, the only reason I want the email sent to them is we did not get a firm answer that they wouldn't do it. And that's why I'm looking for that. That, it was, yeah, well, send me what you need, and,
We'll do it for you.
yeah, and,
He said he'd
Yep.
help me set up, me set up an Excel spreadsheet.
So I just want them to say that they won't do it.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, Dana? Okay. All right, well, if we can get these reports, which are the quick read of the monthly things we get, I'm okay. That allows me to
Yep,
understand the bigger picture, so,
yep. Not a problem,
okay,
not a problem.
all right. Any, we just signed, any checks beyond the check we just
That was
signed?
the only one we had.
Okay. All right, before we go to the public comment, so I have contacted Stephanie and with the, Stephanie Secord with the idea of trying to create a instruction sheet or a cheat sheet that we can post online that would be given to anybody who's interested in creating a scholarship or making contributions. And by the way, did you see that little press release was in the paper again last week?
I've gotten 4 checks in the mail,
Yeah, I mean,
community scholarships, yeah.
I've never seen such coverage for a press release from the trustees. But,
That's
so my thought was that it would be helpful to have this on our website so that if some attorney is preparing a will for somebody and wants to put something in, it can explain the process. Essentially, you can give to the community scholarship funds. You can create your own scholarship. Here are the different options. Here are the minimum requirements. Here's some decisions you have to make. And you have to work out an agreement with the city through the legal department. So Stephanie's actually sent me an initial draft of that. I don't want to bother you guys until I have a chance to sort of massage it. So maybe the next meeting or within 2 meetings, I'll have something to look at. One of the questions I have, which we've never discussed before, is whether people can contribute into the other scholarships that are out there that were established by families. So if somebody wants to give to the John Hooley Scholarship or
Any of they can contribute, and I have gotten checks for the other scholarships, as long as they're not any of the ones that have recently been merged in.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I understand that.
Yeah.
But,
But there's nothing written out there that reminds people that they can give to those particular scholarships, so that might be good to add.
well, so the policy issue here is, I mean, normally I would say, what do we have to lose? But I don't want to detract from the community scholarships. I don't want people to pick, some one that they will give a couple $100 to that would be better served as part of the building up the community ones. But I think that's a policy decision, so I want to discuss that with you before we,
What did we wind up, Judy, in getting for the Hooley Scholarship?
It was about 5,500 total.
I got a nice note from Sean the other day.
That's his, is that his wife or?
Sean's wife,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Very sweet person.
Yeah.
Spoke with them on the phone.
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah, interesting question.
I think in going back, I think in Bernie's case, I think they wanted to increase the Hooley Scholarship. I'm not sure they would have used it to go into the community scholarship. So I don't think you want to preclude somebody.
I don't think we can necessarily
Yeah.
preclude somebody, because some of them, the creators of the trust actually say they're going to go out and raise money over the next few years
There are a few of those.
Yeah.
to essentially get up to the 25,000. So it's really a question of whether we want to, encourage that or just allow.
I can see your point. We don't want to compete with ourselves.
Right.
Maybe leave.
How many scholarships do we have? There must be 30, 35?
We combined 20 into the 5 scholarships, so that got rid of 15, basically, because we created 5 and
Yeah.
got rid of 20.
Yeah.
We had 52 at the time, and we've
So
created
it's
3 or
around-
4 since
It's
then.
around 30.
Yeah, 35.
30 plus, because
Yeah.
I just added the BWF, the BFW
Yeah.
new one, and there was another one that we added within the past year.
Right.
So, 30-ish, 30, 35.
Just a quick thought, I'd have to give it more thought, but I don't think it would hurt. I think it would be good for public transparency to have it available on the website what these 30-plus scholarships are. In most cases, it's, if anyone, it would only be long-term, old-line city residents who would even recognize most of them. And if they chose to give to them, I'd be okay with it versus the community fund. I think probably 90% plus would just go community.
I think so. I think people might choose to contribute toward an existing scholarship because of its purpose, not because they recognize the name, because we got some that go back to 1850s, right? So someone may say, geez, I like the purpose that, Mrs. Smith set out in 1920, and no one in the world will know who Mrs. Smith is, but
Yeah, but over the spectrum of all those scholarships, the purpose in general is, they're basically all the same. help these kids get scholarships. I know some are, but our community scholarships cover virtually every purpose.
Well, no, I agree. Well, let me do this then. Let me include a paragraph or a couple sentences on that, and when we look at it, we can make a final decision on whether to do that or not.
You
Okay.
know, getting back to scholarships, one of the Rotary meetings that I liked the best of the scholarships, and that was yesterday. And they gave out $60,000 worth of scholarships.
That's awesome.
Were those funds raised this year, or is
Yeah.
that? No, so they're not,
Christmas tree sales, golf tournament, and there were 18 recipients.
That's great. Wow, that's great.
And that's all money that Rotary raised, and so that, doesn't come into the total amount of scholarships that are
Yeah.
awarded, so. And they have some old-time ones. Bill Genovese still has the Genovese family still has and that's part of the 60,000, I mean, because it was set up through Rotary, and Joe Shanley. So.
I remember the Chamber used to give away a scholarship out of its
Well,
annual revenue.
when the hospital first was sold, they used to give out, and that you had to be going to a medical school, and they gave out a lot every year, but I guess corporate must have decided that they'd rather have it go to the bottom line.
Oh, so that was not the Community Health Foundation that was given the scholarship, it was
It was the
HCA.
HCA.
Yeah. Okay. Any new business? Any old business?
I think we're good.
Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Motion to adjourn.
The next meeting is
14th, June 14th.
June 14th. Let me just.
Is that not good for anybody? That
Well, I think we went through it last month, so let's just check it. That's fine with me.
And that's the meeting that will need to definitely be wrapped up by 9, because the city manager has a meeting in here at 9 that day, but we usually are.
Yeah, well, we set a new record today, so.
Okay.
Okay, good. Well, I'll declare the meeting adjourned, and thank you for coming in on a Friday.